In early June 2026, a shockwave hit the tech industry. Developers and creators woke up to a new release from Anthropic called Claude Fable 5, and the immediate online reaction was a mix of intense excitement and outright panic. The financial markets reacted just as aggressively. Within hours of the model proving its capabilities in the wild, Anthropic's valuation reached $965 billion. This reaction was driven by a single technical realization: the era of the short-term prompt was over. Anthropic had replaced the traditional chat interface with a system capable of sustained, autonomous execution for days at a time. The industry moved from building tools that perform short-term tasks to deploying systems that function as long-term digital workers. To understand why this change matters, you have to look at the baseline of the previous generation. Models like Opus 4.8 could write dense code and draft complex legal briefs, but they were forgetful. Getting a legacy AI to build a functioning app meant you had to sit there and babysit it. You gave it a prompt, it wrote a single function, then it stopped and waited for your next instruction. This timeline visualizes the core bottleneck of that era: the attention span. Intelligence was never the issue. The limitation was the system's inability to maintain focus over a long period of time without a human constantly feeding it instructions. It starts, does a short burst of work, and suddenly stops. The goal for developers was a model that operated differently. They wanted a system where you could hand over a complex assignment on a Friday afternoon, log off, and come back on Monday morning to find a finished product, delivered without any human intervention. Until an AI can work independently for days, its contribution to the economy remains limited by the speed of the person prompting it. Anthropic categorizes Fable 5 as a mythos-class model. They define this designation by the model's ability to lock on to complex problems and stay with them for days at a time. Look at this comparison in software engineering. On the left, you see the fragmented prompting of the past, constantly breaking the loop to wait for human input. On the right, Fable 5 operates in a self-contained loop, actively moving from coding to testing to debugging and back again. When Fable 5 encounters a coding error, it doesn't halt and ask for help. It reads the bug, tests potential solutions, rewrites its own code, and keeps cycling. The old workflow breaks down. The Mythos workflow pushes through. This capability expands far beyond just software. You can point the model at a repository of 3,000 legal case files, and over the course of a weekend, it will read them, synthesize the precedents, and construct a cohesive legal argument. By running autonomously for 48 straight hours, the sheer volume of data processed dwarfs what any human could squeeze out of an hour-long chat session. Fable 5 represents a transition from software that answers questions to software that replicates the endurance of human labor. But leaving an AI running independently for days introduces a danger: the compounding effect of hallucinations. This chart tracks an AI's progress over time. Notice what happens when a tiny logic error occurs in hour 1. Left unchecked by a human operator, that 1-degree deviation snowballs. By day 3, the model is hallucinating, and the output is an unrecoverable failure. Anthropic enabled the model's public release by developing internal safeguards that manage the risks of multi-day execution. These safeguards act as autonomous self-correction mechanisms. When the model recognizes its logic drifting, it hits an internal boundary and immediately snaps its trajectory back toward the goal. Continuous execution is only productive if the system possesses the integrated ability to self-correct. In the workplace, AI is transitioning from a discrete tool, like a calculator you pull out for a specific equation, into a continuous background colleague working right alongside you. This operational shift is exactly what justifies Anthropic's $965 billion valuation. Look at this conceptual organizational chart. By giving AI the ability to stay on task for days, Anthropic has digitized white-collar labor endurance. A single human manager can now sit at the top of a sprawling hierarchy of active digital workers, transforming how a business scales its output. The commercial value of artificial intelligence is no longer measured in how fast it provides an answer. It is measured in how long it can sustain productive output. Because of this, traditional prompt engineering, micromanaging an AI step by step to get what you want, is becoming an obsolete skill. The required human skill now is AI governance. The value lies in your ability to assign large-scale projects, establish the proper guardrails, and audit the final results. The new workflow is architectural. You define the boundaries of a multi-day project, trusting the digital entity to execute the heavy lifting while you sleep. Whoever masters the management of these autonomous digital workers will command the trillion-dollar economy of the future.